So, what are you resisting today? I wanted to come on here and talk about two techniques that I've recently learned in meditation. And even if you don't meditate, which I recommend you do, you can kind of use these techniques in your regular day to day just to be more mindful and to actually reflect more about what's happening in the now. So, the two techniques that I'm going to go into, they center around patience and acceptance. And what I want to do first is try to change your perception on what patience is and what acceptance is. And I'll give you the techniques and I'll give you my own kind of journey throughout doing that. So the first technique that I've learned is called noting. And this one is kind of recognizing, impatience in yourself, like a practice of patience. So what I first want to do is kind of challenge your perception on patience. For me personally, I'm always thinking to myself, how do I be more patient? How do I be more patient? How do I be more patient? But change that idea of what you think, that you're always trying to become more patient, and think to yourself, actually, patience is actually ingrained in me. It's an inherent part of me already, that I actually am patient. And if you think about who we are as human beings, like patience must be within us. We're supposed to be on this world for however long amount of years. And, we're given all of these different moments to enjoy and, enjoying this process of actually life. Like that's something that is inherent within us just based on, physiology. It's more so not about getting more patience than it is about recognizing when you are impatient. And a way to do that is through noting. And what noting is when you are deep in the thoughts of everything else and kind of living, the current moment in autopilot, recognizing that thought pattern and just noting it as a thought and letting it go. And that's where you start. You don't necessarily have to recognize the thought as impatience, but just recognizing that your thoughts are not within this current moment, and to not judge it at all, not judge that feeling or that thought process, not question it, not continue to go into trying to solve that problem, but really gently recognizing it and kind of letting it release. And it kind of goes back to that idea of, when you think of your consciousness, you want to think of it as the blue sky. And, we look up at the blue sky and it's just consciousness and, questioning and curiosity. And the thoughts are the clouds in that sky. Sometimes it gets foggy, sometimes it gets, sometimes there's a lot of clouds, but kind of just, letting those pass by instead of getting caught up in it, like your head in the clouds, just kind of letting it flow past and, opening up to that blue sky of consciousness and just curiosity and awareness in the present moment. So noting is going to be the first one, and that is a practice in recognizing impatience and understanding that inherently we are patient. The second technique that I've just learned is going to be a practice in acceptance. And the technique is just known as reflection. So when you want to, changing your perception on acceptance, let's think of, what are you resisting? Like what's the opposite of acceptance? It's resistance. And you want to think to yourself, okay, well, what am I resisting? And in that question in itself, you are reflecting. Now, when you reflect to yourself, you want to kind of put it in a third person, like say, what are you resisting, Alicia? And kind of doing that really helps to create a dialogue between yourself and your mind. Like a lot of the times we do resist things, push things down, repress our emotions, repress our feelings, even repress our thoughts. And it's important not to do that, because your mind is a tool and it is a really great servant. It's a bad master. So not letting your mind kind of control you, but learning to listen to it and see what it's actually trying to tell you. So opening up that dialogue in your mind and reflecting on it is really important. And it's also important, just kind of similar to the technique of noting, you're not really judging, your answer. You're not thinking, is it right? Is it wrong? You're not necessarily trying to solve the problem, you know, of, you know, what am I resisting? It's just being able to answer that question to yourself and being aware of, okay, well, what thoughts just popped up when I asked myself, what am I resisting? What feelings, what emotions really popped up when I asked myself this question? And once you can delve deeper into that and understand that, then it just gets you more into understanding who you are as a person. And once you can start answering those questions to yourself, opening up a dialogue with yourself and actually feeling those emotions that come up, those feelings that come up, those thoughts that come up, seeing them for what they are, and then being able to let them go after proper reflection and, you know, observance of those is the key to being accepting. And I just kind of got into the acceptance package because I'm doing this all on Headspace, but I've been in like the blinds, and like my face has been kind of within the sun this whole time. So I'm like kind of shifting over here and there's still sun. Anyway, the sun is kind of popping. I actually do kind of like the sun and the blinds. So that's why like I was okay with it. Anyway, yeah, I just started the acceptance package on, or, you know, on Headspace, but I did do the patience pack already, and I finished that 10-day session. It was really good, and I have kind of started noting, but I think what's important is that, you know, it's not just you do it for a certain amount of time and it's done. You know, repeat this process, not just once every 10 days or once every 30 days, but just constantly getting in the practice of it. I think practicing something over and over and over again, even though it's repetitive, even though maybe sometimes it seems boring, you know, kind of living in that boredom space and not always trying to push the boundaries all the time, but kind of living in that space of right kind of below the edge of your capacity and living below that and practicing. I think that's really important. And that's something you actually learn in, you know, any type of training. I've been a personal trainer. I've like trained for marathons and Spartan races and stuff like that. And the key is not necessarily to always push, you know, to that next level. And that next level, it's not always to, you know, lift the heaviest weights. You know, going below that and just constantly practicing is actually where you find the most progress. And I think that's something that, you know, we don't necessarily understand when it comes to mindfulness. You know, I'm just gonna speak for myself. I know, like, I'm just like, oh, I just don't want to feel this way anymore, and I just don't want to have these same thought processes all the time. But, you know, just not realizing that this really is a practice and it has to be done every single day in order for you to see any type of, you know, lasting progress. Like, that's something that you have to understand. But within that, you also have to understand that every single day, just you practicing is you getting better, and understanding that even if it doesn't feel like it, this constant is actually your progression. So I hope you can sit with that. I hope this helped you out. So noting and reflection, go ahead and try that, and ask your questions about it in the comments below. Let me know how the practice has gone for you. If you're interested in Headspace, I've given out a few, or I haven't given out, but I've like put in some of my older videos that I can give a 30-day trial. So I'm gonna throw it out there that I can give you a free 30-day trial if you are the first to comment down below. If you like these type of videos on mindfulness, holistic health, a spiritual journey, go ahead and subscribe to this video. Subscribe to this channel, like this video, and I will see you tomorrow.